Hello, welcome back to Plumbing College. Today I am going to show you how to install guttering. Most guttering is installed on something called a fascia board. And if you've got a fascia board, you use fascia clips, in which the gutter sits on. This is what today's lesson is going to be focused on. Right, so for this assessment, we're going to install the guttering all the way along there, all the way along to the end. And the teacher has drawn a pencil line here, and that is where the teacher wants the middle of the shoe to be. Is 488 centimetres or 4,880 millimetres. So make sure you use the same clips when you do installation. Never mix and match the clips because they will be different heights. What we are going to do first is put our first fascia clip on. So this is the high end, and the low end is going to be that way. Alright, so when we put the fascia clip on, we need to put it on, we don't want it up too high, we don't want it at the top of the fascia, we don't want it too low. So approximately this far down, so probably about 15 mil from the top, about 15 millimetres from the top. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to put our first screw in. Right, we'll then sort of level it up, and we'll then put our second screw in. So do not put your clip more than 150 mil from the end. Right, what we do next is we need to work out the fall.
The fall required for guttering is 1 in 600. So 1 divided by 600 times 4,880 millimetres equals 8.1333 millimetres or 8 millimetres.
With fascia boards, never assume that they're level. So even though it's reading level here, if you look here, look. Never use the top of your fascia board to take your measurements from. It's bad practice. Over the years, technology has improved. So I'm going to show you how we could use a laser level to make this process a bit easier. So this involves switching on the laser. And as you can see, it's given us a nice level line. Okay, so what we're going to do, so what I'm going to do is going to get my laser line to touch the top of the clip. Oh, I think I've done it. So the bottom of the laser line is touching the top of the clip. You follow it all the way along, you can just about see it here. Just see it along there, all the way along there, all the way along there. That's the laser. Okay, but what if you never had a fancy laser level? What could you do instead? Well, the way round it would be is using a spirit level. So you'd have to go along and do a level line, Let's keep going along the level line, the spirit level, like this. Right, so with this particular fitting, the top of the clip and the top of this are the same. Okay. Okay, so at the minute, if we line it up like this, if we line this up and this up, this gutter is completely level. Eight millimetres. We've measured 8 millimetres. From the bottom of the laser line, we measured 8 millimetres. Okay, so that's level. We measured 8 millimetres down to that's our drop. It's roughly in line.
The running outlet and shoe are roughly in line.
Using spirit level. Do a nice level line across there. So that's 8 mil lower. So that's going to sit there, and that's our drop. Okay, so for the camera, we wrapped our plumb bob round like this in the middle. So that's going to dangle level like this. Okay. The weight, so the plumb bob weight will give us a centre level line downwards, and this line, that line should be in line with the pencil line at the bottom. So our shoe's going to sit in the middle of this line here. So what we'll do, we'll take this away for a minute. I'd say exactly there. It's in line, it's in the middle of the pipe. It's touching there and there. Okay. We then do a pencil line and a pencil line there. Like that and like that. Right, so we have now worked out the fall from end to end. We now need to put the fascia clips in the middle. Right, so what we do now is using some string, we tie some string round the fascia like that. So take note though, so it's got to sit that way up. So the string is going to sit that way up. And do the same on the running outlet. Tie it round here. Making sure the string is nice and tight. Right, so we now need to install the fascia brackets, the rest of the fascia brackets. The fascia brackets should be no more than 1 metre apart. In areas of heavy snowfall, this reduces to 750 millimetres. And for this exercise, we are going to do them 750 millimetres apart. So that is my next job. I'm going to measure 750 mil, 750 mil, 750 mil. Okay. 750 from end to end. So we measured so we line this one up 750. And what we want, when we put the spirit level on, and do is hold it level, so it's nice and level the clip, and we don't want it lifting up the string line. So we want it there. So it's level and it's in line with the string line, and we then just draw the string line. Like that. End to end is 750mm, which means middle to middle is 750mm. Or if you measure it from that end to that end, 750mm. Right, so we now need to continue measuring 750mm again. Okay, so that's how it's looking so far. And then the final clip, so then measure 750 again. The final clip, again, we don't want it too high. We want it to it's just in line. It's just touching, but string line doesn't move. We are now ready to position the guttering on. Position our first section of half round guttering. So you push it from the back, line it all up from the back, and we then clip it, clip it. Okay, you just slide it under and clip it. Right, so that's how it's looking. Right, so we need to put the stop end in at the end of the gutter. That's our next job, and this clips in. Clip it in like that. At this stage we can adjust it to the end of the fascia. Right, so now we need to connect up from here to here. We are going to be using a
Union bracket.
you see that line in the gutter insertion point, never push it to the end. Okay. Because on a hot day there'll be nowhere for it to expand, so always okay, so always do it to the insertion point line. Okay, so that's what we've done so far. We pushed it to there. We haven't pushed it all the way to there because there'll be no room for it to expand. What we need to do now is we need to measure the guttering from here to cut. So we measure from the insertion point line to the insertion point line. Okay, so we start from there. 1745. The best way to cut guttering is by using a wood saw, piece of newspaper, half round file and a pen. On the line that we drew earlier, you wrap around similar to what I've done on my other video when I installed the stack pipe. So I've wrapped it round so it's nice and straight. So I've not done it like that. So make sure that your offcut is square. That's where we want to cut. That's what you do. Put that on the end like that. And you just draw a nice line around. Like that. So that's how you draw a nice line for your gutter cut. We go around it a little bit. I'm not cutting all the way through it, just going around it. Through it. We then make sure to deburr, to move any okay. Section of guttering. Two. Alright, so far we have got this much done. Alright. What we need to do now is just put a piece in here. So now we'll just have to cut the last bit from here to here. Okay. 2 to 5 millimeters. If a piece of pipe is more than 150, if it's more than 150 long, you need to have a clip. So we're going to need to put a clip. So if we don't, this is just going to fall. We're going to put a clip in place. Because we're going to make sure it's not too steep. Just make sure it's got a bit of a natural fall to it. We're going to mark the top. Once you've installed the fitting, there's also a connection that enables you to fix it to the fascia board. Just let it just sit naturally on the clips. We've now put a screw into this fitting just to give it extra support. We are now going to connect the guttering to the down pipe to the shoe. So the shoe, this is just where the water comes out of at the bottom. And see that line there? We want that line to be with that line. So that's the line, which is going to be, so that line is the middle of the running outlet pipe. Okay, so we worked that out earlier using the string line. This is right, so how this works, what you do is you put a clip like that there, and that holds it in place. Normally it sits on the floor, okay, but we're going to just do it a little bit higher. Reason being, we can then put a tray underneath it so we can then catch the water when we test it later. But you eye this line with that line. Okay, in case you've forgotten what I did, I've just, to get the line to the centre of the shoe, all I did earlier when I was marking it out, on the running outlet, put a piece of string in the middle, with a weight in the bottom, and that weight in the bottom then gives you like a level line, and that's where the centre of the shoe fitting is going to be. 68. The down pipe we use is 68 millimeters diameter. Okay. We never glue it in, it just pushes in. The reason being, if we need to take it apart for maintenance or blockages, we can just unscrew the clips and take it out. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put a piece of pipe in. Okay. Okay, so this is 68mm pipe. Let's put some clips in. About there, and we'll also have a clip just in the middle. So it looks nice and neat. It's the wall, using a spirit level with a mark, like that. So I'm going to put one in the middle just to make it look good. So what we're going to do, right, so that measurement, we're going to measure half of it. So middle to middle, that is reading, this is 111, 110, so 100 to 55. Right, so what we're going to do, okay. It's just good practice to put an extra clip in, okay? If you just had 2 clips, that meets the regulations. I put an extra clip in just to give it extra support. Okay, so that's how it's looking so far. We now need to do the swan next. What we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of pipe. We're going to cut a short piece of pipe, about, let's call it 45mm. 45mm, which is there. So then what you then do to cut this pipe, get yourself a newspaper. Wrap it round so it's all nice and wrapped around. Between the lines, so it's all nice and wrapped round. And what you then do, you then draw a line, nice line all the way around. Using a wood saw. Okay, it's important to remove all the burrs. So that now pushes into there, that pushes into there. Right, so what we then do Just going to offer this one up. So that's where it's going to go. We eye it. So eye where it's going to go, which is there. We then draw a line there. Right, and we're going to cut this one. I'll pop in this one to there. Right, so we then measure the final measurement, 210 millimetres. And then just push it all together. So we've now finished the installation. Okay, so this is sort of how it's looking. Okay, so it's looking like this. We are now going to test our guttering, so we're going to make sure that all the clips are insecure, make sure all the seals are in, make sure the expansion, the fittings are in the right place, like where the expansion lines are. Have a check, make sure it's all secure. Alright, we're going to catch the water into an old painter's tray. This test is going to do two things. It's going to check for leaks, any leaks on the joints, and it's also going to check that the water flows correctly. So we're going to pour some water in the end. Going to do too much because we're just restricted to a paint tray. Right. I'm looking for, and as you can sort of see, coming out the bottom. Right, so I'm going to go round. Check for leaks. Okay, so I'm checking for leaks. A bit here just to test this section of guttering. So in the first year you do guttering at a low level, and in the second year you do it at a higher level, so working off mobile towers. A couple of things to be aware of. None of these fittings are glued in because they need to be taken apart for maintenance. If they've got blocked up with leaves or blocks, they can easily come out and can easily be taken apart. Now you know how to install guttering, it's your turn to have a go.